delivery? Because it was quite a very nice manifesto.
Thank you once again for having me, and to the viewers at home, thank you. But there is something that I've said before in other fora, and I've said that people are concentrating on the negatives and forgetting the positives. Okay, even if it is the cost of living, if we have a shilling less what we used to use, then that is an improvement. So, to your question about whether they are on track or not, 6 months is a short time to actually judge a government. We are at work, we are in organizations, and we know that before you push even one thing to go through, then there's a process, it takes longer. But be that as it may, the government or the government of the day, the Kenya Kwanza government, has really tried to make sure that whatever they promised is being delivered. In this sense, when you're building a house, there has to be a foundation, and that is what they're doing.
Yes.
They're making sure that the foundation is intact. Whatever that we've been seeing with the previous government, or the previous government, to be precise, is that we had short-term measures, and the solutions therein were short-term. So what the Dawn is trying to do is that let us first build this foundation. The foundation has to be proper before we can begin to have the cost of living going down as it should, and which he has really showed there are signs that it will go down, even with this plant that is in Lamu,
yes,
of gas and all. So that is a sign that things will go down. But you cannot expect him to just, at the click of a finger, then things are going down, okay? Because there's a process. Because when you want to lower the cost of living, then there are other players involved. He's not alone. He's not the only person. He doesn't manufacture. There are manufacturers. He doesn't sell. There are retailers who sell. So what happens is all these people have to be involved when it comes to the lowering of cost of living.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, whatever that people want, and that is what the opposition is doing, if we have the opposition, that is what the opposition is doing. It is using that, which it had played a part in ruining. You get? It had played a part. It was in government, the previous government.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, the cost of living went up. You see, when we add somebody into government, then it means like the taxpayer has to pay. So the cost of living went up because we had a bloated, more or less, government to actually appease someone.
Yes.
Yeah, without mentioning names, you know who. So what happened is there's a lot of money that went into this appeasement, right? So it is not them who paid this person from their own pockets. It is the taxpayer who paid these people. So at the end of the day, the cost of living did not start rising when Ruto took office. It was bad. Actually, it was worst. We are trying to sort things out. That is what Kenya Kwanza is saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Cliff.
Yes.
I don't know which time when you have. Just go on. Cliff,
Yeah.
if my question then would be,
Yes.
you're trying to sort it in what sense? Because the center focus now has been Matiang'i. We haven't seen the rest of them. There hasn't been a plan as well. Cliff, if you're going to sort it, then you say, this is how much they took home, fine, from government coffers. We need to get it back. But it looks as if it's just Matiang'i that they're going for. Are they settling a vendetta? And if it's a vendetta, then why not just go for the rest of them?
Now, I think this is where we have people taking things out of context. It is because Matiang'i was a high-profile cabinet secretary.
Yes.
And that is why the story is very juicy for the media. And that is why we are saying that the media is really being misused for lack of a better word. I'm a professional journalist,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I can say that with a lot of authority. Because this is a story that is juicy. This is a high-ranking, number 3, to be precise, in the previous government.
Could be number 2. We will look at it.
Could be number two.
Could be number 2.
Because
Yes.
at the end of the day, you know, all the roles of the deputy president have been taken over by
Yes,
the
true.
cabinet secretary of interior and all that. So we can say this is number 2 being gone for, right? So the story is juicy. And if the media keeps on doing this, then the story will be juicier by the day.
Are we saying that they could be going for others as well? Because if you hear DP Gachagua speak, and I'm going to
Yes.
play that clip for
Yes.
you so we can actually get to way into it.
Yes.
Are you saying that the best way then to even, number 1, start looking at the cost of living, start building these dams, that we have another promise as well in 6 months as well,
Yes, yes.
bringing down the cost of gas, bringing down the cost of unga in this country, that the best way to do it, Cliff, is to go for the former government officials within your first 100 days. For what purpose? To what end? That's what I'm saying. Because at the back of this,
Yes.
you have promises that you come into the government with saying, we're going to deliver A, B, C, D, and very, very, very fast at it. Let me remind you.
Yeah.
The DP himself is one guy who said, tukieka Biblia chini,
Yes.
bei ya unga itarudi chini. A man would quote the big man, Ruto, word for word. He did say this. Fixing the cost of living in this country is not rocket science.
Yes.
You just have to fix
Yes.
the production aspect of
Yes.
it. But then, Cliff,
Yes.
when you're new in office, what should you be doing, essentially? Is it not just on your agenda to the end? But now, the headlines that we're seeing day after day is this government going for the previous government officials. That's it.
That is, you put it well. Like the headlines we are seeing. Who puts the headlines? Is it Ruto who puts the headlines? Is it the opposition who puts the headlines? It is the media who puts the headlines. They control that. Now, the agenda setting is what is happening. The media wants to set that agenda. Like these people are going out for the previous government officials, isn't it? But does it mean that this is the only thing they're doing? Does it mean there is nothing being witnessed? No, it doesn't mean that. And that is why every time I come on air, I want to tell the people that it is not always whatever you see that is the only thing that is being done by the government. This is one or a few of the aspects which the government needs to take care of. It is not everything that they are doing. But because, as I said again, because for the media it is all about ratings nowadays. You are not out to actually be the mirror of the society.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say. And that is what I want to say here categorically. When we are saying we are going for Cliff, for instance, we are looking into Cliff's wealth or Cliff's way of living as a public figure. What is wrong with that? As a public figure, then, I am open to, I'm open to scrutiny because I'm a public figure. I'm representing the Abokis and the Wanjikos. You get the idea? So at the end of the day, when you see someone being looked for, trust me, they know each other. They know what has happened.
Yes.
You see,
Yeah.
and then talking about being audited, we remember when President Uhuru Kenyatta was talking about lifestyle audits. And the DP then was very clear, very categorical. He said, if you want to do a lifestyle audit on me, come do it.
Yeah.
I'm ready, I'm open. And like Cliff says, and he's put it very well, if you have nothing to hide, come. Tell us, how did you get this? How did you get that?
Yes.
And again, I do agree with him because at the end of the day, the focus on Matiang'i is just one of the things that is happening. A lot of other things are happening in the background. And then Cliff has spoken about, accommodating one person in the previous government. And I'd want to say this. Maybe a lot of money was spent. And you've said, DP Gachagua yesterday was talking about money that was lost. You said around 24 billion that was taken from government coffers. And the Supreme Court case was just meant to hoodwink Kenyans. Now, is Matiang'i part of them? If indeed he is, then the agencies are right, and they are within their rights to go after him. You understand?
Yeah.
But again, the same, let me say this. Raila Odinga is talking about, we do know that the 14-day ultimatum is ending on Wednesday, I believe. And he's now saying, I will make a declaration that will change the course of this country. Now, you know, you cannot, in my own understanding, you cannot be part of the problem or perceived to be part of the problem to begin with, and at the end of the day again,
Be the solution.
Exactly. So where does it leave Raila Odinga? Where does it, if at all, he was in government, we do know that. As much as you want to say, maybe I wasn't in government, but he was in government through the handshake. Now, whatever happened during that time, he also is part of it. And whatever mess was created then, whether the Kenya Kwanza government is trying to clean that mess or not, we must acknowledge that there was a mess.
Yes.
And does he acknowledge that he was part of the mess?
Yes, pretty much. Gentlemen, I just want us to, this question comes like this. And Cliff, you see, the question that I'm putting to you is that there are state agencies in this government that are very critical in auditing how money is spent.
Yes.
This morning, if you look at the headlines, you will see that the Auditor General, that particular office, by Ms. Margaret Nyakango, it's showing us exactly what we need. She's done reports after reports. But in no one instance have we seen Dr. Fred Matiang'i's name appear there. She's calling out the expenditure in ministries. She's calling out the expenditure in these county governments and other state departments, which therefore begs the question, if indeed you have state agencies that are supposed to do this, why is it that this particular agenda is vehemently being spearheaded by your deputy president, whom, by the way, has a very specific role that you made public? We haven't seen that. And just before you answer that, I want us to watch this particular clip again, which is going to put this conversation into perspective so that we know exactly what is DP Rigathi Gachagua speaking about. Ian Kitani, you and I work in the media profession. You would agree that every time DP Gachagua gets a chance to speak, he is always talking about the previous administration, how they messed things, and how he himself and his Kenya Kwanza administration wants to put it right. Which is what says we're not creating an agenda, Cliff. No matter how you look at it, because the newsmakers who should be telling us exactly what they're focusing on are focusing on fighting the previous administration. Let's watch this clip, then go for a tiny break. Once we come back, we'll be talking about it.
It is 6 months since President William Ruto's administration took to office, and the government seems to have decided to revisit their 2022 campaign's rivals. Speaking at a church service in Nairobi County, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua revealed that the government is warming up before it can expose all those he termed as looters in the previous administration.
That is what was happening. These fellows who kept on shouting that they cannot hand over to thieves, that thieves will not be entertained in this country, those are the people who have stolen money belonging to the people of Kenya. And in the few days, we shall be releasing details.
While addressing the high cost of living issue that has been a thorn in the wood in President William Ruto's administration that has made many Kenyans to go in bed with empty stomachs, Gachagua accused the previous administration of looting public money during its last days.
The little that was remaining waliiba siku za mwisho. Na hawa ndio walikuwa naongoza kusema watu ni wezi. Na hao ndio walikuwa waizi wakuu. Ni watu ya pickpocket walikuwa wanajipanga kama watu 30. Wanakuibia. Ukisema umeibiwa, wanageuka wewe, wanasema wewe ndio mwizi. Nikasema tulikuta store hakuna chochote. Hata panya ametoroka, hakuna kitu ya kukula. Hii nchi tumeanza upya. We have started from scratch. We found a broke country with nothing.
It is during the service where the DP cleared the doubts that the government is in plans of taming Kenyatta and Raila Odinga's own companies.
Sisi tunasema mtungi ya gas wamekuwa wakituuzia bei kali. Gas wamekuwa wakituuzia bei kali because of monopoly. Tumesema tulete watu 5 4 washindane, bei ya mtungi ya gasi iteremuke na gasi iteremuke.
Gachagua stating that the government will open more gas and milk companies to avoid monotony by the two leading companies owned by Odinga and Kenyatta.
And that is what will happen. You can sponsor headlines, lakini bei ya gas na mtungi itateremuka. We shall open up that space to many competitors because it was a monopoly by one person. Anatuzia mtungi ya gas na gas vile anataka. Mambo ya maziwa tumesema, there has been a monopoly by one person. Amenunua kampuni zote, anatuzia maziwa, anatununulia vile anataka, anatuzia vile anataka. We are opening up that sector for competition. Ndio mkulima aongezewe bei na mkunywa maziwa iteremuke. Na itakuwa namna hiyo.
This comes as Odinga has maintained to spearhead mass action demos in the country. Shadrack Kareria, Look Up TV.
Sana, Mungu awabariki. Thank you very much.